is Thursday, April 14th. Okay, well, technically, it's after midnight. So we have crossed over into Friday, April 15th. But I'm still on April 14th, Thursday. Um, I don't remember where I last left you in episode 2 of the editing series. I don't think that I don't know if I had started the chapter outline yet. I think I was still trying to work through the read through and still reading through this, I think. I don't know. But I am into the chapter outline now. I am on chapter 5, Bryant's POV. And I don't think that I'm going to use this, like, how do I say this? I'm probably going to, as usual, when I outline, I kind of hodgepodge outlines together anyway. I don't use all of any one particular outline. I may use a little of Save the Cat. I'm probably going to use a lot of this, but not like to the letter, or act exactly as it says, because even though this is really useful, very useful, and it breaks down multiple POVs, I still have more than the 2 POVs that it breaks down for, so it still doesn't necessarily help me fit the 3rd POV in there. So I still have to kind of do my own thing anyway. But this is very, like, it keeps it real simple. There's like literally maybe a page and a half for each section. I mean, it's a very quick read, super quick. I did take a few days to read it just because I wanted to make sure I understood each part, while I was reading and coinciding with what I was working on with my outline. But I know I've heard some people say they read it in an hour or within the day. So, very good. Very, I think what part I'm on now is probably the no way number 1 part. I don't know. And see, the thing is, my 2 characters, they aren't just meeting for the first time. So it's not like I don't think there's not a meet cute for my characters, because this isn't the first time they've met. They're rekindling things, or at least they're working their way to rekindling things, even though she's engaged to be married, and so is he. But, so it's not really a meet cute. And there's not really that will this work or won't this work, because they've been together before. So in certain ways, mine is different from what this book kind of lays out. But, it's still helpful. You can always find a way to tweak the outline structures to what works for your particular book. And I will say this, for this book, this is more helpful to me than Save the Cat. In my mystery series, Save the Cat is probably more helpful, but for this particular one, this is more helpful. And let's see, I think where I last left off, I might have just been starting the chapter outline, but I don't think I had. I'll go back and watch to see. But chapter 1 is Autumn's POV. Chapter 2 is Bryant's. I've got chapter 3 and 4, both is Autumn. And I'm on chapter 5 now, which is Bryant's. So that I'm breaking it up, and I don't want to do every other chapter. Is like, I don't want it to be so predictable. Like, you just know, all right, this is Autumn's chapter. The next chapter is obviously going to be Bryant. The next chapter is going to be Autumn, because I am going to go throw some wrenches in there where Cal's POV will pop up. And it won't be as often, but he is a bit of a main character. He's the fiance. So he kind of has to, I can't not give his side and his perspective of things. Where he pops up is what I'm trying to figure out. But, and then there's the the fourth POV that's really not going to be in there much at all, but he's actually probably about to pop up in the next couple of chapters, and that's the father of her child, the old ex, and well, okay, so I think I did have a development since the last one. The last one I didn't know what I didn't have a real, what can I say? I didn't have a real deepening plot for Bryant. So now, where I stand with Bryant is, let's see. Okay, so his thing is, of course, he's still in love with Autumn, but he won't realize that yet until, they have sparked again. He's engaged to be married also. His is not for the practical reasons that Autumn's is. Autumn just wants to feel safe and protected, and the guy's good on paper. She thinks he won't hurt her, so she's kind of got her guard up. She feels safe with him, and for her, that's enough. Or at least she thinks in her mind at the moment that that's enough. That she doesn't want to be hurt like she's been in the past, and she's just real insecure and real, guarded is probably the best word I can think of. Extremely guarded, actually. But Brian is not guarded. Brian actually loves, well, at least he thinks he does, the person he's engaged to. But that's because he hadn't seen Autumn again yet. Now, he is hit with a little guilt when he sees Autumn, because he knows that he is the reason why the father of her child, who was his best friend, he's the reason why he up and left her and her son. And she just thinks that he up and left without saying goodbye, no word, no nothing. Selfish move or whatever. Now, Javon, who is the father of her son, he did lead a not so great life. He was in a gang. Brian and him were both in a gang. Brian got out because he saw the route it was taking him. He didn't want that life anymore. He wanted, a good life, safe life. But, not safe like she thinks safe is with Cal. But Javon did something. I'm not entirely sure what the something is yet, so I don't want to say. I have something on paper, but I don't know if I'm going to stick with that, so I don't want to say yet. But Javon did something, and it resulted accidentally in someone dying. And he committed a crime, but unintentionally, because of that crime that he committed, someone died. Not intentional, but someone did die. And most of you know, when you commit a crime and someone dies as a result, that falls on you. So Bryant tipped off the FBI about the crime that he committed that led to someone's death. And so he basically snitched. And so Javon left without saying anything. Now, Autumn knows nothing about the crime he committed, nothing about the result of that crime, nothing about why he left. She also doesn't know Brian is the reason why he left. And so he feels guilty. And he has that secret. Autumn has far more secrets that she's keeping from him, but, that's neither here nor there. He doesn't know anything about that yet. He knows the secret he's keeping. And he's torn when he sees her again, because those feelings come back up, but he also knows what he did. And he feels like the reason why she's so guarded and willing to settle for this guy who's good on paper is because of the hurt. Well, it is because of the hurt that came from Javon leaving her the way he did without saying anything. And that, what he did when he did that, it was because of what Bryant did. So there's a little guilt there, and they'll get past it, obviously, by the end. But the key is to getting to that part where they get past it. So that is where I am today. I am in chapter 5. Yeah. I realized I hadn't updated you guys in a while, or hadn't did a video to update where I was in my outline. So I wanted to do one tonight, and I guess this will be the start of episode 3 as I work on romancing the beat. I'll see you next time in the next update. Probably, maybe tomorrow. Yeah, probably tomorrow. Bye. Okay, so not entirely sure where. I think it was Friday on the 15th. It might have been Thursday on the 14th when I last came to you. But so my outline has moved. Actually, I'm contemplating working on it a little more when I go to get into bed, but probably not. So I don't know. I think when I last spoke to you guys, I was just starting chapter 6. So I have completed chapter 6 in my outline, and I'm now on chapter 7, which is kind of exciting. It's the one POV that won't be in here that much. So he'll have this chapter and another chapter in the future, Javon. Okay, so here's the thing. And I know the next 2 chapters, the POVs, the switches, I know what they're going to be. So as I'm going in this outline, and I don't know if it's necessarily a problem, but I'm discovering that Kyle might not get a POV, or he's not going to get as frequent a POV as I initially thought he was. And I thought because he's the fiance, he's Autumn's fiance, of course he has to have, a good number of POVs. He's the third person in the triangle, and he is, and he's an important part to her story because okay, well, Javon is probably the most important, even though he's going to get the less, well, maybe not the less, but he's not going to get very many POVs, partly because he dies in the story. But anyway, he's the one who hurt her so bad that she didn't think she could trust or let herself love again. He's the one that made her put her guard up. Brian is the one who she's really truly in love with, but she resisted so much she almost loses him because of her own stubbornness and her own unwillingness to let her guard down and just trust him and trust her feelings for him, and that he won't do to her what Javon did to her, whatever. Although you can never really be certain that no one will ever hurt you, which is pretty much the ultimate theme of the whole book, is you just have to go for it, leap, let yourself fall in love. You can never fully protect your heart, because as long as you fully love someone, there's always a chance they can hurt you. Just have to trust that they won't. So Kyle is the one who, I want to say, he got her to trust again, and you would think that because they're engaged, they're getting married. That's the plan. So she lets herself love him, but she only lets herself love him to an extent. She's not in love with him. And I believe in the story, I haven't started drafting it again yet, but she's never really going to say that she's in love with him, because she's not. She'll always just go as far as to say, I love him. I do love him. And he's safe. On paper, he's good. I know he won't hurt me, even though you can never really know that. I suppose he's the one who got her to drop her guard down just about halfway, enough to say yes to a proposal, obviously. But not fully commit, which is a shame because, he's a nice guy and he is safe, but, just never marry someone just because it's the safe bet. So you would think that he's going to be mainly featured, and that's what I thought. But as I'm writing and structuring the POV switches, and I'm like, I'm in chapter 7 now, and Cal hadn't popped up once. He will pop up. There's this back and forth that him and Javon are going. Their POV. I think the next chapter that Javon has is going to be right before or right after he comes to her house and has a sit down with Kyle and tells him all these things that she wasn't telling him because she didn't really want him to know. Again, she doesn't fully let him in. And all these, things that I don't want to spoil everything. But there's this back and forth and kind of mano a mano, man testing man type of thing. But, and then that's, I mean, that's not going to be Cal's only POV, but I'm just not really seeing very many POVs for him. That, I mean, it could come up, I could be wrong. I can get further into this outline and implement Cal's voice more. But right now, it's really Autumn and Bryant. Javon pops in. So where I thought it was going to be 3 alternating POVs, it really is seeming to be just the main 2. Javon pops in because, he's why she's like this. It's what made her like this. And I'm just like, is that a problem? Is that a bad thing? He's her fiance. So he should have more POVs, right? I don't know. Um, I'm just not feeling that's where the story's heading. But I'm not finished the outline, so we'll never know. But what I wanted to address, I'm in chapter 7. I'm on Javon's POV now. I only got like 2 bullet points for that one. But okay, so here's where, again, love this book. But here's where, okay, so in the setup, is it the setup? Is it the setup? No. Is it? I don't know. Oh, yes, the setup. Okay, so you have the introduction. So Autumn's chapters first. You meet Autumn first. Kind of get a sense of her, where her headspace is at, what her insecurities are. Bryant is the second chapter, and you meet Bryant when he's coming back into town. He hasn't lived in this town for years. He moved away after he did a thing that he's not so proud of and feels guilty for to Autumn, and comes back to town, and he's not the first stop, but one of his first stops is to Autumn's father's house because he grew up with a single mom, and Autumn's dad was kind of like his dad. And so the introduction of characters it goes, those 2. And then chapter 3 and 4 is Autumn. And then you have Bryant coming again. And Bryant's chapter 5. Chapter 6 is Autumn. Chapter 7 is Javon for right now. So then you have the meet cute. Now here's where it throws me off. And I think I discussed this in the last clip. This is where it throws me off because they've already met. This is not a first chance. I mean, I guess it is a chance meeting because they've both, well, he's been out of town for years. He's coming back into town. So this is the first time they'll be seeing each other in years. So it's kind of a meet cute, but not really because they know each other. They're not just meeting. And then it's like, how do I fit? And see, that's the only problem I have with the romancing the beats. It's not a real big issue. But they have the 2 POVs, but if I have 3, there's nothing for that. So I'll get more into this the next time, probably in episode 4. I'll get more into how I'm managing to break it down for my book. I probably can tell you more of how I'm going to do that once I've gotten further in the outline or finished the outline. Am I going to finish this outline by the end of camp? That is a good question. I don't know the answer to that. But right now I am in chapter 7. Hopefully on the next update, maybe tomorrow, I'll be further along and I'll see you next time. Okay, so back today. Well, it, I haven't gone to sleep to wake up back again, so it's still Tuesday for me. But it is technically, if we go by the clock standards, it is technically Wednesday, because it is 2:10 in the morning, and just wanted to report on my outlining. That I got 2 chapters outlined today. The rest of chapter 7 and all of chapter 8, which was Javon's chapter and Autumn's. Yeah, Autumn's chapter was after Javon's. Now we're getting into Bryant, and he's about to find out one of the big secrets she's been keeping. And yeah, because it's time to reveal the secret child. um, in Javon's chapter, you see that he knows that Brian is the one that tipped off the police that made him have to leave all those years ago. He knows, so what he's going to do with that information, I guess I'll have to find out. You also see Brian kind of tell him why he did what he did. At first, he didn't confirm or deny, but then he just kind of went off on him and basically is like, he didn't want Autumn to have to live that kind of life being with him or whatever. So yeah, he tipped off the cops. It was best for her, but she might not feel that way. We're gonna find out later. But I will be back hopefully tomorrow with the final update before I edit this episode, and hopefully we will have gotten at least to chapter 10. I don't know how many chapters there's going to be, by the way. There's 28 in the original manuscript, but it's also single POV in the original manuscript, so I don't know. But hopefully I'll get 2 more chapters done by tomorrow. So yeah, update you later. Bye. Okay, so outlining, editing day. I don't know what day this is, but I don't know what number day this is for this video. But I thought I would come back and update real quick before I end up closing out this video with my final update. It is, okay, it's Wednesday because I haven't gone to sleep yet. But I know I keep explaining this, but I have to because I will have to tell you the honest technical time. It is technically Thursday, the 21st. It is 2:10 a.m. Again, I think I came to you last time, 2 something in the morning. I also came to you when I had finished up. I did all of chapter 7 and I did the rest of chapter 7 and all of chapter 8. Okay, so I was hoping to come back to you today with chapter 9 and 10 done, but I don't even have chapter 9 all the way done. Look, it was a rough day to do any outlining. I did on my stream. Yesterday I had managed to get an overwhelming amount done during the day because baby slept, periodically. But today, baby was the prince of catnaps. So, felt like every time I put him down, he woke back up like 5 or 10 minutes later. So I got a few bullet points on chapter 9. I was contemplating trying to finish chapter 9 before I went to bed, but what I really want to do is watch some TV and read. I didn't read at all yesterday, which made me feel very strange because I try to read at least a page, preferably a chapter a day, but this book has long chapters, so like a couple of pages at least I try to read, but I didn't read anything yesterday, but it's okay. So I'm on Brian's POV, and he is at the coffee shop. He's meeting Autumn at the coffee shop, and she's getting ready to tell him. Well, he's thinking that she knows that Javon somehow told her that what he did all those years ago, that he's the reason why Javon left, and left her and her son with no help or anything, no note, no goodbye, nothing. All that hurt that she felt, all the trust that she lost, he thought that Javon told her. So he thought that that was the reason why she wanted to meet. Because at the end of chapter 8, she gets the call from her aunt telling her that the daughter that she gave up to her aunt to raise um, is sick with leukemia and needs a bone marrow transplant. And of course, with any kind of transplant or anything like that of that nature, the biological parents would probably be the best. I did research this part. So the biological parents would be the best option possible. Obviously, if they're not a match, you can, obviously seek out, um, what do they call that, donors elsewhere. But it's best to start with the family members. And obviously, she's the aunt. She didn't match. So the next step would obviously be to go to her parents, her biological parents. So she's reaching out to Autumn to call. She tells her that, she didn't say her daughter needs her, but basically that she's sick. The daughter's name is Spencer. That Spencer's sick. And, you know, they need to get tested. So Autumn is, of course, panicking because everything's about to hit the fan. And she's got all these secrets running around her head that she's trying to, juggle. And this is one that she didn't want to ever tell. Although I don't know how she thought she was going to go her entire life without ever saying anything about this, but whatever. So she meets him at the coffee shop, and right now I'm at the part where she just told him he thinks it's about Javon. He says something about Javon. She's like, no, it's not about him. Why would I want to talk about him? I don't even want to think about him, let alone talk about him. And so, he's kind of breathing an inner sigh of relief, of course, until she tells him what it really is. She tells him they have a daughter. The daughter is sick, and she just kind of blurts it out because at this point, there's really no other way. Well, obviously, I haven't written the scene yet, so I don't know how it's really going to play out. But the way I'm putting a few notes of how I might want her to say something, which I do from time to time in my outlines. Like if I have a clear way that I want someone to say something dialogue-wise in my head, I'll note it down in the margins of the paper. So she kind of just blurts it out because she's like, she notes that there's no easy way to say this. She didn't have time to prep him and kind of walk him through what happened before just putting it out there. So she tells him, the abortion that he thought she had, they discussed her having all those years ago. She decided she couldn't go through with it, but she also couldn't be a mother at that time, especially because, was with a guy she wasn't really supposed to be with, even though technically she wasn't with Javon at the time they actually got hooked up together. They were on a break. You know how in high school you have the breaks. We were on a break. If you watch Friends, you know what I'm talking about. But, so she decided to give up the child to her Aunt Cassie, who didn't have any kids and couldn't have any kids. So, that's what she did. She kind of thought it would never be talked about again. But of course, all things that are done in the dark come to light. But right now, that's the part that I'm on, and I stopped for the evening. And I was going to continue, but I think I'm going to stop for the evening. And I'll pick back up tomorrow. Hopefully, when I update to close, I will have finished chapter 9 and perhaps at least started chapter 10. We'll see. But I'll be back to update you tomorrow. Okay, so I'm going to close out this editing my manuscript episode, editing and revising my manuscript episode 3. Sadly, I did not work on my outline at all yet today because I woke up really late this morning and my body just needed the rest. And then I had errands to run. And I'm just muddling my way through. So I did not get it yet, but hopefully I will work on it some more tonight. And by episode 4, hopefully I will either be almost done my outline or at least further along in it. And in episode 4, I will further break down the different beats in Romancing the Beat and how I will make them applicable to my story, or if they're even going to be applicable to my story, because some of them I don't know that they are going to be, or I may have to change it up a little bit, but we'll discuss that in the next episode. So, with that said, that's going to be it for this video. If you like what you see and you want to see more videos from me, make sure that you hit the like and subscribe button, and let me know in the comments if you're editing a manuscript as well. Let me know how it's going. What stage of the editing process are you in? And as usual, if you would like to support me in my many creative endeavors, such as my blog site, my online magazine, my online store, or my Ko-fi page, all of those links can be found in the description box below. Until next time, have a blessed day. Bye.